All right, let's talk about something huge. It's one of the biggest questions of our time, a question that's right at the intersection of mind-blowing innovation and, let's be honest, some pretty deep anxiety. What is AI's real impact on our jobs? Is it a threat, or is it going to be the ultimate teammate?
Okay, let's just get right to it. The headlines are everywhere, the hype is deafening. And for a lot of us, the real question is simple and it's personal. Is a machine going to replace me? And it's a fear that cuts across almost every industry, from truck drivers to financial analysts to artists.
And that fear? Man, it feels super real. Just take this comment from a Reddit thread with a bunch of writers. It just perfectly captures the anxiety. It's not just about whether AI can do the job. It's the fact that this big push to replace human creativity and expertise is even happening. This isn't some far-off sci-fi thing. It's a real concern for people, right now. So, to really get our heads around this and move past the fear, we need to get a couple of definitions straight. The entire debate, really, it all boils down to two key ideas: automation and augmentation. Automation, that's what we usually think of, right? A machine completely takes over a human's task. But augmentation, that's different. It's about tech becoming a partner, a tool that helps us do what we do but better, making us faster, smarter, more efficient, without actually replacing us. The future of your job probably depends on which one of these paths we go down. So which way are we actually headed? To figure that out, we've got to move past all the speculation and actually look at the data. And luckily, a major new study gives us the perfect way to do that. When you're trying to navigate some really complex territory, you need a map. And that's exactly what researchers at Stanford University have created. Their Work Bank study goes way beyond that simple automate or not question to give us a much, much more detailed picture of what the future of work could look like. And here it is. This is the map. It's called the Desire Capability Landscape. It's a brilliantly simple idea, but it's incredibly powerful. So the horizontal axis, that plots what AI is actually capable of doing right now, and the vertical axis plots what we, the actual workers, desire or want AI to do. By putting different tasks on this grid, we can start to see where the real opportunities and, the real conflicts actually are. This whole landscape is broken down into 4 key zones. First, you've got the green light zone. That's where we want automation and the tech is ready. Perfect match. Then there's the red light zone. The tech is ready, but workers do not want it. The R&D opportunity zone is where we want help, but AI just isn't good enough yet. And finally, the low priority zone, which is where, nobody wants it and the tech can't do it anyway. And right off the bat, the first big finding here is honestly pretty surprising. For nearly half of all tasks, we're talking 46.1%, workers actually want more automation. So people aren't necessarily fighting AI. A lot of the time, they're asking for help with the boring, tedious stuff so they can focus on what really matters. But here's the thing. That desire, it is not spread evenly at all. In creative fields, like arts and media, workers only want to automate about 17% of their tasks. They want to protect that human touch. But compare that to more technical fields, that desire for automation skyrockets to almost 54%. So this just shows it is not a one-size-fits-all revolution. So that desire capability framework, it's a great start, but it's just one piece of the puzzle. The Stanford study also gives us an even more sophisticated tool for thinking about how humans and AI can work together. It's called the Human Agency Scale, or HAS for short. And instead of just a simple yes or no on automation, HAS gives us 5 levels. H1 is full AI autonomy. H3 is an equal partnership where the human and AI together actually outperform either one alone. And H5 is where human involvement is just absolutely essential. This scale helps us have a real conversation about collaboration, not just replacement. Okay, so with these new ways of thinking about individual tasks, we can now zoom out and look at the whole economy. How many jobs are truly at risk? Well, research from Goldman Sachs suggests that if AI is adopted everywhere, it could eventually displace around 7% of the U.S. workforce. The immediate risk from the tools we have today? Much lower, closer to 2.5%. The impact is real, for sure, but it's maybe not the jobs apocalypse that some of the headlines suggest. But there's this really critical group of workers who are kind of caught right in the middle. A report from the Global Partnership on AI identifies a category they call the big unknown. These are jobs with a high potential for automation, but they also involve a really wide variety of tasks. For them, the future just isn't clear. It's a total toss-up between being augmented by AI or being automated out of a job. And we are not talking about a small group here, not at all. This big unknown represents 9% of the global workforce. That's 281 million people whose professional futures are basically hanging in the balance. This chart illustrates perfectly where that group sits. You can see the clusters of jobs with high augmentation potential way over on the left and the high automation potential ones on the right. But see that dense green cloud right in the middle? That's the big unknown. These are the jobs at the crossroads, and they represent a huge challenge, but also a massive opportunity. So what happens to these workers? I mean, their fate will pretty much determine whether this whole AI transition is a painful disruption or a massive leap forward for everyone. As AI takes over more of those routine, thinking-heavy tasks, the skills that make us, as humans, valuable or changing, the Stanford study shows this fascinating trend. Skills like analyzing data are becoming less critical for humans, mainly because AI can just do it faster. So what's becoming more important? Interpersonal skills, things like training, guiding, and building relationships. And this chart right here, it shows that shift in action. Skills that get you high paychecks today, like analyzing data, are also the ones that need less human involvement as AI gets better. But the skills that AI really can't replace, like training others and guiding subordinates, those are becoming the most critical for human agency. It's a fundamental reordering of what it even means to be valuable at work. The takeaway here is so clear and honestly really powerful. As AI handles more and more of the computation, the unique value that we bring to the table is our human connection, our ability to lead, to empathize, to teach, and to collaborate. Okay, so this brings us to the most practical part of our explainer, really understanding this new landscape of human skills and figuring out how we can all adapt to thrive in it. But it is so critical to remember that none of this is set in stone. The impact of AI isn't something that just happens to us. It's going to be the result of thousands of decisions made by companies, by developers, by governments. We actually have the ability to shape this transition. So how do we manage it? Well, the GPAI report lays out a whole policy toolkit. This includes things like massive investment in retraining programs to help workers get the new skills they need. It suggests ideas like AI displacement insurance, where companies would actually pay into a fund to support those whose jobs get eliminated. And it proposes creating incentives like tax credits for companies that choose to augment their workers with AI rather than just automate them away. Look, ultimately, we are at a really pivotal moment. The technology is here and it's advancing at an absolutely incredible pace. The choices we make right now about how we design it, how we deploy it, and how we support our workforce through this change, those choices will define the very nature of work for generations. So we're going to end with this question, which brings it all right back down to a personal level. AI isn't just some abstract concept anymore, it's becoming a coworker. It can be a tool that handles all the grunt work, freeing you up for more creative, strategic, and fulfilling stuff. Or it can be a competitor. The kind of teammate it becomes depends not just on the tech, but on the future that all of us together